Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the TT World Championships. You'll have to go to the YouTube version of this podcast to see I'm adorned in the Highland Cattle attire for the official merchandise of the World Championships. Toby's tried to get stuck into the little cow, but it's still alive so far. 36K is the course of the women. Men's is 48Ks tomorrow, so they skip basically the Keenan, a little climb. The climbing per kilometre is the same. The finish is the same. They go out on A roads. They do a little detour down south on a B road. Don't really know what a B road is in Britain. And then back on an A road with a detour through the Lecky Road and Touch Road climbs. Big ring climbs for the best riders. They should be in the extensions. And then the real punch is the Stirling Castle finish. 800 metres, 5.5%. Steep as well in parts. And also the surface didn't seem that fast. It was pave or, I don't know, what's the British paving stones? Cobbles, one could call them even if you wanted to go so far. And we had some very weird stuff before the TT, Benji, with Canyon Shram tweeting something this morning.
Exactly. I found it odd that they tweeted this, but basically on their official Twitter they posted, unfortunately we have news that Chloe Dygert has suffered from illness since winning her fourth Rainbow title in the individual pursuit and racing the TP last week. No clue what TP stands for. Trivial Pursuit?
Team Pursuit.
Yeah, obviously. Trivial Pursuit would have been pretty funny. But,
Dude, do you reckon she'd be any good at it? Chloe Dygert, Trivial Pursuit.
Imagine. I have no clue.
I don't think so.
Rude. But anyway, the tweet does not say that she's not riding. So that's the odd thing about it. If it was a tweet
when you
saying,
read that first line, the first line, what's your gut reaction?
Oh,
thinking?
Damn, she's out. That's my response.
And it's from the trade team, right? Let's overanalyze this because it's a TT. Why would she's there for USA, Team USA. Why would the trade team tweet, not the Team USA team, that the rider's been under the weather but still competing? It made no sense to me. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't sick. I've just never really seen anything like that, or maybe I haven't, I've just forgotten. Normally, it's like they're sick and they're out. Yeah. To me, it was, and it didn't end up happening, but to me, I read that, I was like, pre-built excuse in case of a loss. Because that's how I read it. There's no other reason to do it. Because the opposite is that usually when a rider like Royce crashed in the mixed relay, right? Apparently she crashed in the mixed team relay, the event. You know, she'll probably regret doing that, frankly. I'd be surprised to see her do it next year. And she said, or, she's like, I'm fine. But you saw the bandage. And usually riders like, no, I'm fine. But yeah, very, very strange. I thought it was very odd. But anyway, we go into the TT. The bookie's favourite was Royce, but how would she be affected by that crash? Then it was Dygert giving up a 30% chance. Then Vollering, then Brown, fourth favourite.
I do want to talk about the crash for Royce for a second because I need my rant out of here. It's universally known that I'm not the biggest fan of the mixed relay discipline because
what is that?
It's okay. What is that? It's do I really have to explain the mixed relay discipline now? Okay, so basically there's 6 riders of each country, 3 men, 3 women. I think the 3 women ride first and then the 3 men ride until the finish line or the other way around.
In
I didn't watch
TTT
clearly.
Formation. Each
TTT
3.
formation basically.
Okay.
And they do a TTT like that. So it's kind of like, I don't know what to compare it to because it doesn't exist in the entire season. It's only there at the World Championships, at the Olympics, and not anywhere else. So it doesn't represent anything. You're the world champion of nothing if you win that. And I don't see it as prestigious at all because I don't really give a fuck. But anyway, some riders do care.
UCI points, though. Some teams try to get their riders in because there's UCI points there.
I agree. Some riders do care. Some trade teams care about it because of the UCI points. But 80% of the start list are riders skipping it. Like the best TT riders, 80% of them are not riding in mixed relay because, well, they probably don't want to risk anything.
And in the men's, it's 100% of the top medal chances. They never do it.
Kung was there though. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kung was in the race.
What's Switzerland doing? What are they doing?
They're risking their rides. Like Van Vleuten crashed last year. Kind of still won the World Championships, but it could have completely bottled the race. And it almost did after that crash. And now Royce crashed in the same event. Then there's a reason people skip this event. Because 1, they might not see it as prestigious enough. But secondly, because it's a few days before their event that they've been training out for months, and they just don't want to risk that. And then you see it happening to Royce when you're like, yeah.
You know, you've not practiced it at race pace with these people. They're not your trade teammates that you've done a simulation with, probably. So there is a crash risk.
So it's a mistake to me to ride the mixed relay if you want to win the ITT a few days later.
So that's a good precursor to what eventually happens in this TT. We start with Chloe Dygert, who goes off early. I don't quite know why. I'm just going to guess because Van Aert's going off early tomorrow. It's because she didn't do it last year and the others did. That's probably not the rules, qualification points. I don't know. The point is she went off earlier than the batch of Brown, Royce, Vollering, the other three favorites. So we had a long time. Dygert out the gate, smashing it. Not surprised on the flat. This is a 45 kph plus course. Yes, there's a hill at the end. It's still 5 meters of climbing per K. It's a flat course, as relatively flat. And so she's smoking it, 53k an hour average at T1. And, you know, our next reference is Bouyak. And at the finish, I think, where did Bouyak eventually finish?
3 minutes down?
Yeah, like 3 minutes down on her. So we didn't really know, without the reference points of the other riders, how good was that climb of Dygert. I was looking at Royce's TTs on similar elevation courses, and I did think Royce should win by 30 seconds because I was like, she's averaged over 46 on hillier courses this year, and the Po TT was hillier than this, and so 2:29 to Bouyak, I'm not sure that's enough to win this TT, but that's just all guesstimations. What did you see in Dygert's final sector, Benji, and not just the climb, but the overall her last 10 minutes?
I feel like the first half she was riding brutally strong, and she was barely moving on the bike, and that's kind of an indicator of how much a rider is suffering as well in a time trial. And towards the end of this time trial, I'd even argue from the start of the second half of this time trial, once we're hitting those hills, I really felt like she was looking like she was suffering big time. Now, everybody's suffering at this point, but I wasn't expecting it to happen at that point yet. But she actually, based on the results that came at that T3, for example, held quite well at T3. She didn't gain as much as she gained in the first time check and in the second time check, but at the third one, she started showing some vulnerability. But it was really on that last portion, the last hill, the last section after the third time check until the finish line, that I visibly thought she was riding slower than some other riders. And we see the eventual time, and that's a time where, if we take a look at the riders that she's competing against at that time, is basically holding the same distance, or she only gains 15 seconds, I think, on Cecilie Uter-Pludewig, and was it Bouyak as well in the final segment? And I was like, okay, she's going to lose time to other riders in this last segment.
Yeah, exactly, because she should, if she's not gaining time on those riders, she's effectively slowed down because she has been gaining time on them. And, you know, as a reference point, Skalniak Soika, who I'll say it again, I think there's a climbing prospect or a versatile rider in there. She runs 7th in this TT, and she beats Dygert by 10 seconds on T3 to the finish, and that's not just the climb. That's still nearly a 40k an hour average segment. So Dygert was really struggling. If that climb was 300 meters longer, I think we may even have a different result here. But that was what was clear, is this race isn't over at T1. Don't expect someone to beat Dygert at T1, but that doesn't mean they can't win either if you understood how Dygert paced or maybe mispaced this TT, or maybe it was her original pacing plan and she was sick and she couldn't maintain her original pace.
One thing though, you mentioned she's starting really early. She's starting in that first wave of riders. And I don't know the specific reason why she started that early, but she's having way more minute women ahead of her. Riders that she's going to be passing throughout the parkour, because those riders are on paper significantly worse than Dygert is. Is that a nuisance or is that a draft advantage?
Oh no, that's a big advantage normally. Yeah, as long as you don't get caught up in a corner and there's not that many right angle corners, it's an advantage because you don't go up and draft them, but if you're going into their slipstream from 15 meters away, you still get something. So whether that changed the result or not, I don't know. Maybe I will if I put my Australian hat on, but probably not. But yeah, it does make a difference, and it is an advantage. And then we see the big guns go out. We are doing this TT recap a little bit differently, but it was interesting the way it panned out. Roycer goes off around the same time as Brown. Vollering, forget about her. She at T1. At T1, she was just miles back. She was not even in contention for a medal at any point, really, in this TT. Roycer and Brown start. T1, we're looking at Brown 17 seconds behind Dygert, but that was after we saw Roycer at T1, who's not on my time splits table, but so I'm going to have to, because she didn't finish, but I'm going to have to do this from memory.
32 seconds down at T1.
How long?
32 seconds down at T1.
Yeah, and that's after 14 minutes. And so, yes, did I expect her to beat Dygert at T1? No. Did I expect to be 32 seconds down in 15 minutes? No. And it's not like she's a small rider waiting for the hill at the end. She's a powerful rouleur. And so that it just looked like something was wrong. It must have been.
And Henderson was ahead of Roycer at the first time check, because she was 25 seconds down at T1. So that's the extra indicator. It's not just that Dygert was faster, and Henderson was faster as well. Henderson's a pretty competent time trialist, but on paper, Roycer smokes her on this length of a time trial, even a 14-second time trial, 14-minute time, 14-second time trial is a bit short. 14-minute one a bit longer.
Too, probably.
I actually don't know. I don't want to bet on that.
Henderson, decent sprint, Uriah. Anyway, Royce is not looking good. We get to T2. She's falling even further back. And then suddenly, the news of the day, Royce steps off the bike. Just gets off the bike. She was sort of stretching her back a little bit, but I'm just reading into that. I was looking at the bike, and the soigneur or the Swiss coach came out, not with another bike. I was looking at the bike. It's flat. Problem? No.
It's the body.
And she just... Yeah, she abandons this TT. Obviously, very, very distraught. I'm going to assume she was not feeling good and could not push the power she needed to push or could normally push because that crashed the other day. That's the Occam's razor, the pretty obvious answer to me, and understandably, very upset. And there's that sort of what might be an iconic image. She's just like sitting in a ditch with the Star Wars special helmet on. Just like, fuck, my world champs is over.
Out of context, that image of her sitting in the grass is quite funny, but if you take it out and you look at it, she's prepared for this world championships properly. It was actually pretty heartbreaking to then see her hug her coach and so forth. So it's unfortunate to see that it went down this way. I personally didn't have her as winning this time trial before the race started, but I also didn't expect it to go down like this in any way. And we also recorded our preview before the crash of Roycer, so that crash definitely didn't help. As a person that arrives at this time trial, I'm guessing that it's the mixed relay crash that caused this.
You would think so. Like, I don't think she would have stopped training for Worlds because they won the Tour de France. Like, she literally said in her interview at the end of the Po TT when the interviewer asked her, "Oh, and the goal of winning yellow, you must be very happy about that." And she was like, well, that was the team's goal. So I think she was very focused on winning the world championships. And with Van Dijk out, she had a huge opportunity too. So the favorite out, the only one that can beat Dygert, who's been in that hot seat for a long time, on the phone at times on the hot seat, is Grace Brown on course. And she holds at T2. Like, okay, not holds. She actually does lose more time. She's like, at T2, can I do maths? 16. She's 31 seconds down.
Yeah.
So she's lost another. She's losing time at exactly the same pace as she was at T1. But at T3, that's where she holds. In fact, she takes back about 4 to 5 seconds on Dygert. And Dygert hadn't really slowed down that much up to T3 at that point. And so with the gap now 25 seconds, we had a real nail biter where it's like Dygert slowed down massively. Brown can win this still.
Yeah.
If she can do the best climb of her life on the Stirling Castle climb.
This would have been the most prestigious battle between you and me and our picks of all time. You had Dygert in your corner.
And Harada or Soler and Uran, that was goated.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Every break.
I don't know if it was Uran or Harada. I think it might have been Pacher or something in the Vuelta. But anyway, we've got Brown in my corner, even though you're the Australian one, so I don't know what went wrong there. and we've got Dygert in your corner. I don't know. I thought it was going to be
corner.
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really bloody close at that third time check, and especially because it's not just one rider that went faster than Dygert in the last segment. We already saw that Schweinberger went 8 seconds faster. In total, I think 7 riders went faster or something at the last time between the last time check and the finish line. Then Chloe Dygert. So, Niedermeyer. That's she can climb though. Labou.
Yeah, she can climb.
So that favors the Demi Vollrings of the world. Also understand that the climb is better. But would it also work for a Grace Brown who, let's be honest about it, climbed pretty shit at the Tour de France Femme, right?
Yeah, she didn't have the best Tour de France Femme, and she kind of indicated that she could do something at this World Championships with that final Pau TT, where she was the best non-SD worker, where she came fourth in that TT. And they didn't show her. They showed Amber Neben finishing. They showed everyone finishing. They cut back to her. I think they actually missed an opportunity here. They should have. They should have shown Brown. Well, there's a little dropout. Anyway, they should have shown Brown's full climb. She's there, 10 seconds to go. We don't have a meter marker, but it's not looking like she's rounded the left corner to 25 meters to go. And unfortunately, the clock ticks down and she loses the TT by 5 seconds to Chloe Dygert, who wins her second World Championships in the individual time trial on the road. As I said, 5.5 seconds ahead of Brown. Schweinberger, I haven't really mentioned her. She did a fantastic TT, came third, just 2 seconds ahead of Anna Henderson. So Schweinberger's just been quietly getting better and better results, the 26-year-old on Phoenix de Koning. Just another good rider that Phoenix de Koning have. And, you know, her classics results are actually very good this year, and they've got her locked up for another 2 years. So they're really building something with their young squad, Phoenix de Koning. And they're the medals. Dygert wins, ahead of Brown, big gap to Schweinberger, and I guess I was right, Benji, Dygert. But
get out of
Royce DNF no one saw coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, that's for sure. I'm really hyped about Schweinberger's season, as in, I'm also curious how close she can get on the actual road race. Because if you take a look at Tour de France Femme, she was good in that Lippert sprint stage, for example. So she's got that punchiness. Whether she can do that repetitively throughout the entire race, I don't know. But she's also a rider on a team where nobody's going to mark Christina Schweinberger in the World Championship. So maybe she can Alberto Bettiol herself into a top 5 position at the end. So I really am bullish on this rider. She's been really strong all season in the Cobble Classics especially, and I can't wait to see more on that regard. But a bronze medal is fucking amazing for this rider. And Henderson really close as well, 2 seconds off the podium. So that one's going to hurt a little bit, I think. Labou, she's going to be happy with the top 5. I'm pretty sure about that. Especially since at its core, she's not the purest time trialist. I think the hills really helped her get back time on the pure T-tiers, like the Rihanna Marcuses of the world, for example, who is actually also a pretty good climber. So just ignore that. But I actually don't know who's winning the U23 one. Is that Niedermeyer? I think it is, right? Taking a look at the lists.
She 20?
Yeah. I think she wins the U23 World Championships title.
Hold on a second.
I'm holding on. I'm thinking
of the Australian one, the junior one this morning. Felicity Wilson Haffenden. So yeah, she I forgot there was no U23 actual separate one. But yeah, Niedermeyer, very, very good, and Canyon win as well. So let me just think. I was going to say Royce would have won if she didn't have the crash. But then, did Dygert have the sickness? She said she did. And then she even said if the TT was yesterday, she wouldn't have even started. And so maybe both weren't at full force, and this wasn't the best time Dygert could... I don't believe this is the best time Dygert could set. I like Grace Brown, but if Royce was healthy, she beats Brown by more than 6 seconds. We saw that in Pau. And if Dygert's super healthy, she beats Brown by more than 6 seconds.
I don't know about Royster on a 36 kilometer time. I still need to see it on paper. But I will say that I agree that Dygert on paper, I would have expected her to win a bit more if she does win. Like you said it, she either wins with a lot of time,
Yeah, that's what I
or
thought.
she's not good enough. That's kind of the prediction there that you said. But anyway, we'll forgive you for that one, as you still selected the rider, right? But when it comes to Brown, you could also argue that because Royster stepped out, Brown lost draft, which might have meant 5 seconds of draft.
No, she would have been 5 seconds delta. I don't think.
No, it wouldn't have been the difference here, but I don't know. I don't know if the draft in this, when it comes to the amount of riders that Dargett has made the difference. I think it has impacted the race a bit, but whether it impacts the winner is unknown. And hey, that's how the cookie crumbles.
I'll round out the top 10. Henderson takes 4th, then Labou a very good time in 5th. She actually beats Vollering by 6 seconds. I also think Vollering, probably not her best performance, but you can forgive her after the Tour de France victory. Skalniak-Soika, very nice result in 7th. Amber Neben, who's won this event twice before, the 48-year-old. She runs another top 10 in 8th, Marcus 9th, and Howe 10th. So yeah. Niedermeyer only beat Kerbal by 8 seconds for the U23 one. So that was actually a very close run thing, but it's like there was no tension for it because you can't really. And in the event, they're not talking about it or showing the graphics on the screen for it either. So it's kind of, goes by the by. But yeah, Niedermeyer wins the U23. What do we learn from this, Benji? Is there anything that changes for the road race? We'll do a separate road race preview, but I think it does make me think Dargett is more of a chance to win the road race. I don't know about her handling on that course, but yeah, she must be in half decent shape to win this.
I've just been celebrating all the Kopecky medals that I've been collecting in Belgium because she's been winning nearly every discipline on the track. So that's given me more of a feeling towards the world, even though it's also not comparable to the World Championship road race, but it does show that she's in a pretty damn good form. She showed real acceleration in those races as well. She ended up, I think, winning points race, elimination race, and coming just short on the Omnium, if I recall correctly. But I'm on the Kopecky wins it block, and she doesn't have the strongest team, but we'll dive into that in the preview. But is it me, or is it super annoying that in the World Championships ITT that the time ticker at the bottom, when a rider crosses an intermediate check or the finish line, compares it to the first rider and not with the rider that is...
Yeah, it should be the rider there next about to go past in time, yeah. And they normally do that, don't they?
Yeah.
By another...
TDF, for example.
Yeah, I agree, because you see a rider because you see, say, Labou on 1 minute, and you're like, okay, well, we know she's not beating Dargett, but how far away from third is she? How far behind Schweinberg is she? But yeah, I guess, is this the full circle for Dargett, Benji? You know, like, won in Harrogate, had the world at her fingertips, crashed in Imola, and then disappointing in the Olympics. Not yet.
Not yet. I feel like we're going to see a Dargett in the future that will destroy everybody in a time trial.
Yeah, I mean, just in her evolution as a rider, I agree that I think she has a bit more to give, but, you know, she didn't race in Europe last year, just about, very strange. And this year she has come back, and the amount of podiums she has already in how many race days? 23 race days. The amount of podiums she has is incredible. So, but yeah, next year she might be focusing a lot on the track for the Olympics. But she could also win the Olympic road race in the road cycling. So, yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of her yet. I think she is going to be really focusing on the Olympics next year, and well, not the last of her, the best of her yet. But we also have to see her this weekend in the road race. Anything else from this TT, Benji? Maybe now that we've seen it in the flesh, at least most of the course, that informs the men's one tomorrow.
I feel like the hill was harder than I anticipated.
Yeah, it's a nasty hill.
People are fucking dying after the finish line.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect them to be cursing at that hill so much after the line. Some riders,
the surface is slow.
Yeah. Slow surface, but also just, it looked steeper than the profile told me initially. So that's a rough one. I think pacing is important, as Dargett kind of showed. She won, but she did kind of blow in the last 4 kilometers, you know?
Yeah.
So it's important that if you do go really fast at the start, that it's enough to still win the World Championships.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can lose a lot of time on that hill or a fair bit of time. I think the hill suits Remco a lot, but also probably the speed that exactly the speed like the guys like him go and can smash up a hill. Like, I don't really think it's bad for him either. It's Ganna who could Ganna lose a little bit there. But it's a longer TT, so much of it is flat, and these guys go 55 k's an hour. They said it's a slow course. Like, it's slow. The roads are slow. Who does that favor? I don't know. Van Aert is going earlier. I saw the start list than the Remco and the other guys. Is that because he didn't do the TT last year? It would be my guess in the World Championship. So that's only half an hour earlier, but weather can change in this part of the world very rapidly in half an hour. So we'll see. We'll see how the weather plays a part. Also, as Benji mentioned in this women's TT, riders are going off so quickly that who you have to pace ahead of you is really important. And I would actually say that's advantage Van Aert. He will have more riders to draft off as he catches them, I think, than in Remco's phase. So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's something to look out for. But today was really exciting. A lot of drama with Royster pulling out. I hope she's okay and she recovers well. Obviously, it'll be very disappointing, and we'll see you with another cracking TT recap tomorrow. Until then, ciao.